My name is Matt Payne. I've been teaching here now for 2.5 years, and I have an educational background from the UK. I got my degree, my Bachelor in Education, quite a few years ago now. And then I taught in the UK, as well as having several placements around the world in my training, and moved to New York 2.5 years ago to teach here. I'm head of lower school, which includes the years 1 to 4, and I currently teach the year 4 class as well. The journey starts when they come into lower school, so I'm overseeing that as they come into year 1. We're starting to get them ready, and as each year progresses, they're taking their next steps for their next challenges. And at year 4, I'm really getting them for that last push over the finish line to get lower school finished academically and socially, and getting them prepared for the next phase of the school where they go up. There's more challenges, but also new routines to learn, a bit more responsibility, a bit more independence. So by the time they get up to me in year 4, they've taken on those new academic challenges that they're now familiar with. We continue those whilst adding also some extra elements of responsibility and independence to help them get into upper school and take the next steps to success as they move up. Sure, so by having such a large global network of schools, it means that we can really support each other and help each other to grow together. There's so many different ways that helps as a teacher, as a leader in a school as a whole. Some of the ways that I can think of, for example, is that we can draw on others' experiences. So we often keep our teachers from other schools who move. They can bring with them into a new school fresh ideas from other schools, or as well as the consistency of our approach. So they know our general ethos and our general goals as a whole global network, but then also as well, like, oh, I've seen this being done here or this being done here, which comes in and really helps us to grow and develop. It also means then as leaders and as a school as a whole, we can also pull things from other areas. Just last week, I was on regional calls where I was on online Teams calls with people from all over the Americas, not just in the US, but also our schools in South America and Latin America too, where we could talk about things like health and safety. And this is just the way that we can make sure our school's running really, really well. So we can share academics, we can share about how the school can be safe, and we can look to improve in those. And I'm just in the middle at the moment of arranging an online meeting with a teacher in Boston who's also part of our diversity and inclusion team. And I've been working on that here as well. So it's a way that we can share ideas of what's worked well already. So for example, we've been communicating about how here in New York, we've changed our house names and how they come from different cultures around the world to represent our international aspects here. And that's something we're going to talk about and share in the process that we undertook to get to that, so that it could be implemented in another school. So by having these global connections, it means that we've got several different threads to pull, depending on what we need. Do we need something here that we're going to share academically? Do we want to share something about how we can run the school to make sure it's safe? Are we going to share this other element? We can communicate, collaborate, and then move forward together. Okay, so we want the children to learn. We want the children how to read, write. Of course, we're doing all of those things, but there's also a different element of that. And part of our vision is about being globally responsible. So how do you become globally responsible? Well, that's how people as individuals, as children, as they learn, as they grow, as they become people that are about to go out into the world and make a difference. We want them not just to have the skills that they need at a foundational level for academics, but also those skills that make them really good people that can join the community, join society. So it's things like cooperation, communication, how they're going to work together. Those inquiry is one. So how they can look into things and find things out, morality, respect, So the NAISNY habits get used as a tool in several different ways, really. We use Class Dojo as a positive reinforcement. When the children do well, that's it's like a school social media where we can post house points. They get awarded those house points when they exhibit those behaviours. So for example, I might see a child on the playground being really kind to a friend. They've fallen over, they've like bumped their knee, someone's helping them up, they're showing a NAISNY habit there of respect. They get a house point for it. So then it's starting to build into the fabric of the school. Those house points are being given out every time we see someone achieving those NAISNY habits. What we've also done is we have our school mascot, which is Houston the hawk. We have a hawk that flies around above the building of the school, occasionally perches on one of our fence posts. So the children are all really excited about this hawk, and that's become our mascot, Houston Hawk. And each week in assembly, we award one child from each year group a high flyer award. So just like Houston flying around their school, the child that shows that they're flying maybe just a little bit higher than everybody else and have done something really impressive, and we link that to a habit. So it might be that they've worked really, really well in a team activity, they've shown cooperation, they get awarded that on a Friday assembly where they receive a certificate and they take a little Houston Hawk home with them to go on an adventure over the weekend with them. So another way that we can really celebrate the children in the way that they succeed, not just within their academics, but also within them as individuals and as people, and how they grow and their personalities develop. We can identify these different ways that they're really doing well, celebrate that, and then showcase it with house points and assemblies. And at the end of the year, even for our end of year assemblies, those that have done it throughout the year consistently and really showing that they're ambassadors of the school. So during our lower school, like the time that the children are in lower school with me, from year 1 to 4, they have specialist lessons. So although they remain in the class for their core learning of their reading, writing and math and science, they go off to their specialist lessons for subjects like Spanish, where we have a native Spanish speaker that teaches the lessons. They go to the gym for their PE, which is a specifically trained PE teacher that's teaching them PE in our facilities. Drama and dance are those lessons inspired by our global partners in Juilliard to help us to shape our own curriculum, to give these children an opportunity that they might not get elsewhere, to really explore how they are as performers or being creative, which ties in then to the other subjects, of course, as well, but it gives them that platform to step up and have a go. Art is another specialism where they go to their art teacher, where we've got this beautifully resourced room where they can explore. And it's not just like you see in some schools with like, just get the paints out, let's paint something. They explore a range of medium, a range of materials, a range of outcomes, and explore that art process of how you can create this artwork and create a piece. Just last week, we had an art gallery that really highlighted some of that artwork. And when you walk through the hallway and you see it all there throughout the year, it's amazing to see the different styles of, there's like a watercolor painting, and here's a sculpture, and here's these vases that have been inspired by our International Week along the tables created, and this child's painted with acrylics, and here we've got a sketch that's been shaded in just black and white. So when you walk through in these moments, you can see where these specialisms are really pulling their expertise out to plan the curriculum and deliver it to the children. And then it links back as well to how lower school get prepared for upper school. And when they go into upper school, they have a specialist for every single lesson. So by the time they get there, they're prepared to be moving to their English teacher, to their math teacher, to their science teacher, where they go to the science lab. And then here at this slightly younger age, we keep them for a bit more time, but then send them out to those specialist lessons in the specialist classrooms with the resources and the expert teachers that they need to really flourish in those areas. Here at NAISNY, because we've got such a great ratio of students to adults in the classrooms, it means that we can really focus in on what the children need to develop and grow. It means that we can focus in and work with these groups of children to identify any gaps in their learning, to make sure that we can really, focus in on those areas throughout the year. Because of that, it's great because we get to help with their progress and really accelerate it along. But then also, it's not just about finding those gaps, it's finding the new ways to stretch and challenge the learning of the children that need to be pushed. So in a small class, you can kind of then start moving around and you're kind of looking at, okay, so this child here needs a little bit more work on this bit. So I can sit with them and work on them with that. This child's got this, they need that next step now. They need to push it out. And that could be then a different activity. Maybe it's a completely different objective that they're going to have a go at. Perhaps the outcome's going to look different for them. For example, I can think of with their writing, I might be looking in my class, they all know what their target is at the moment for writing. I need to work on conjunctions, I need to work on fronted adverbials, I need to structure my paragraphs. And we can talk through that and work together so they know the kind of things they want to work with. And then if they need my support, I'm there for them. But then also I've got a couple of children that have really flown through all of that, really need the next steps. So whereas we're writing some narratives, I'm going to give them like a completely different activity that's a bit maybe unfamiliar to them to begin with, to see if they can adapt and change and use their reasoning skills to dive into that and apply the skills that they've shown that they've got. And then we can find ways then to look at that and say, well, here's your next step. Here's where we can challenge you further. Here's where we can push your learning and take it to the next step. Strengths here at NAISNY is that we have a really great community. And it's part of our vision that we empower our diverse community. And it really shows in the day-to-day of the school. We have at the front of the door drop-off in the mornings. We have a range of adults from different areas of the schools greeting the families and welcoming the children in. And the same at drop-off. We're all there to see the children out at the end of the day, to speak to all the adults who are collecting on the sidewalk. But it goes a step further than that. It's not just about dropping off, and it's not just about picking up, and it's not just that transfer from school to home. We have lots of different things that go on that bring our community in with us as well. Some of the examples can be that throughout the year we've had the parent mixers, where the parents and family members of the children come into the school and have events with us, so we can really build our connections with the community. We can then set up with the PTA, they have these events for the children. And for example, last night we just had a dance set up, and we had a big shared space within the school, completely decked out, beautiful. It completely transformed into something else. And then, of course, I took the opportunity to bring in some decks, and a bit of a hobby of mine in the UK was DJing. So just to make it a little bit special,